The North Carolina Tar Heels are advancing to the Super Regional this weekend when they host West Virginia. And it's all thanks to some wild baseball that happened in the Bosch last weekend. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Thursday evening, 6 o'clock. It is Super Regional Eve. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, this live episode, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shea, joined by our guy, Johnny Castagnozzi, infielder for your Diamond Heels, getting ready for the Super Regional round one last time. You're joining us at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. We want to thank you for making us your first listen or watch. Special shout out to all you everydayers out there and all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord community as well. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So, folks, here's what we're going to do on the show with Johnny tonight. We're going to look back to the regional, some wild and high-level baseball that happened last weekend. We're going to look ahead to this weekend as the Diamond Heels host West Virginia in the Super Regional. And then we're going to take some of your questions at the end. So if you're diving in on this thing, go ahead and drop some questions, some observations, whatever in the chat. Maybe you want to ask Johnny just something random. I don't know, but get it in there and we'll look to that in the third segment. So, Johnny, first off, brother, congratulations to you and the Heels for getting out of that regional round, man. I know that LSU was no joke, but before we got there, had to get past Long Island on Friday night. And I want to just fast forward ahead to the ninth inning. It was kind of similar to Wake Forest in the ACC tournament. You guys have a lead in the ninth. LIU ties it up with 2 outs and then hits that 3-run bomb. And I know a lot of people were tuning out and turning off. Where was your headspace? What was the energy in the dugout like as LIU tied it up and then went ahead?
Yeah, that was definitely a crazy moment. A little, I wouldn't say unexpected, but it was, caught us off guard for sure. But like we were kind of preparing all week, everyone was saying LSU, LSU, LSU.
That's right.
But we were trying to focus on LIU. We had, but yeah, I mean, listen, whenever we're down, I never feel like we're out of it with the lineup we have. And I know it was, a great momentum for them, but, as soon as I think Vance got on the first, I think he led that inning off with a hit or something, or he got hit. And then Casey got a knock, and we were ready to go from then. Like I said, with our lineup, you're really never out of the fight. So
that's absolutely right. I mean, first off, well played on the LSU LIU comparison there, Johnny. Proud of you for your wordplay. But we talk about it all the time. You and I have talked about it. I know it's been a mantra for you guys and for Coach Forbes this year. 27 outs, and with this lineup, man, that is a very real thing. And you talked about Vance and Casey getting stuff rolling. I don't know about how it felt for you, but for me watching it, it almost felt inevitable at that point. I know that sounds weird. I know you're down 3 and that might sound weird to people, but I was like, no, this is about to happen. Did you have any sense of that?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of had the feeling that like everyone in the dugout's like, there's no way, we're going to blow this game here. Especially with how the season has been going up until that point. I mean, we've really been every type of game. And I think that Wake Forest game that you mentioned in the ACC tournament really got us prepared for a game like that. Although we lost, we had to fight and continue to fight as they were fighting us as well. So, I mean, yeah, I just kind of had the feeling in the dugout, the whole vibe was kind of like, there's no way this is going to happen. So
that's right. And all due respect to the ACC tournament, which it's like, hey, we're here, we might as well win. That's not what we're trying to get to, right? It's Omaha. That's the goal. And that's what we're trying to find at the end of the day. And going back to Wake Forest, there was the moment Gavin Gallagher had a big opportunity in extra innings there, wasn't able to come through, and then had that boot early in the Long Island game. And I know he's kind of kicking himself for that at third base. But boy, did he have some big time plays all weekend. Yes, absolutely. But specifically Friday night. And it wasn't just the grand slam. But boy, he comes up, Johnny. Just tell me about the feeling of that moment watching that ball fly out of Bosch.
Yeah, I mean, once he hit it, I think everyone just was so happy and so pumped with excitement. He's been really doing a great job all year of keeping his heart rate down, and like he looks so composed in the box. And for a freshman, that doesn't come by too often. So that's a credit to him and everything that he's worked on this season. But like I said, anytime anyone is in the box on this squad, I feel like we have a really good chance to win. And then, seeing Gavin do it the other night just propelled us, honestly, for the rest of the regional.
Man. And then, we move ahead to Saturday, get that win. Vance with his bombs just helping pull through that. But I want to fast forward to Sunday. And before we talk about that game itself, Johnny, there was a lot made. I don't know if you guys were catching wind of this on social media or if you were trying to stay disengaged from that. But with the way the home and away designations go in these regionals, a lot of people were making a big deal about you guys having to be visitor not only Sunday, but Monday as well. Yeah. What is your internal discussion there? Is it like, hey, this sucks? Or is it like, look, we just got to go out and ball? Like, how do you guys handle that internally?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of been talking about it, honestly, this whole year. It's kind of about how we play. The outside factors really don't affect how we play the game. I personally, I think it's unfortunate. Like, it's our regional. Maybe we were away for one game for 2 games. I think it's a little ridiculous. But, again, with this squad, I feel confident no matter what the circumstance is, if we're playing all the way, no matter what. So, I mean, it was unfortunate, but obviously it didn't affect us in the long run.
Yeah, thank goodness. And it's one of those things where I guess both can be true, where it's like, we're going to go out and do our thing. But also, as you said, it is unfortunate to at least, like, I get it for that second LSU game, but Monday night feels like we should be the home team. And then maybe you get a little walk off instead of having to sweat out one last bottom of the 10th there. Great stuff. We'll get there in just a second. Johnny, let's stop at Sunday night first, where LSU has some big innings, gets out to this big lead. And you guys just start chipping away, as you got to do in a game like that. For those who aren't big baseball people, you're not trying to get it all back at once. You just got to get a hit here, catch a base there, score a couple runs, and give yourself an opportunity to be there in the last couple innings. And Johnny, what was wild to me is 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. 3 of those 4 innings, you guys loaded the bases. And the one that you didn't, I think it was 1st and 2nd. That's when Vance had that long home run distance foul ball that would have brought it within 1. What are you feeling there? As it's just like, gosh, we just, unlike Friday night, we just can't get the big hit tonight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's baseball, right? I mean, it's going to happen some days and some days it's not. But like I said, I always feel confident no matter where we're at in the game. If we're down by 8 runs or we're up by 8, I really feel confident. And listen, like that, we didn't really look too much into that because we knew what we had to do ultimately the next game, and it was go out there and play the best baseball we can play that day. Leaving guys on, like Vance hit that ball foul. Like if that ball's fair, it's a whole different game. I'm sure there's other balls that game that just missed here, just missed that. So it's really a small margin of error, but like I said, it's a matter of how we play and how we feel, going into the game, not really looking at the past and what has happened. So, yeah,
absolutely. And I loved, I'm sure this was the sentiment for all of you, but after that game, I saw in the post-game comments where Harbor had said, like, basically like, we were disappointed about 10 seconds. And then we, as you were just saying, we flipped our paradigm, and it's like, all right, Monday night, it's go time, all hands on deck. Let's make this happen. Talk us just through that mindset shift that you guys had to quickly make.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the game's over, everyone's bummed. We get back in the locker room. Nobody's really saying much. It's kind of like just a terrible feeling. Then coach comes in and talks to us, and then we get in the shower. And then after that, it's almost like, what, we're ready to go for tomorrow. I know there was like, I remember the coach or somebody sent us a video of UConn basketball's coach, Dan Hurley, talking about like when they lose a game and how there's like a dark cloud over the team almost, hypothetically. And that's kind of how it is. Like when we lose a game, it's like everyone is just so pissed off, but then, we're able to flip that script, win or lose. I mean, the next day you still got to do it again. That's why baseball is so unique. You got so many games and so many opportunities. You can't ride the roller coaster. You got to stay, pretty even keeled.
And that's the nice thing about baseball is, man, next time in the batter's box, next game the next day, you just keep coming away and plugging until they tell you got to go home and you can't play anymore. Yeah. And that's where we're going to head next. is that Monday night decisive Game 7. Johnny and I are going to talk about that, his role in it, the feelings throughout the game. It was a wild roller coaster of a Monday night, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Right after I tell you that this episode is brought to you by Game Time. I'm really excited for the NBA Finals. It starts tonight, like just in a couple hours. And Johnny, I don't know about you. I've never been to an NBA Finals game. I think that'd be fun to go to at some point. Yeah. And maybe, Johnny and I hop off and we're just like, hey, let's go up to Boston tonight and catch this game. That'd be awesome. Here's the good news. Prices on the Game Time app go down the closer you get to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets at the NBA. For example, Game 1 of the Finals tonight. They've got some flash deals on Game Time. How about this? Section 301, row 15, 10% off right now. $1,125 down to $979. You can get in for under $1,000 to this game. Cheapest ticket right now, $672. Man, you can get in on that. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. All right, we're joined by Johnny Castagnozzi, infielder for the Diamond Heels, and we are getting our way back to Monday night where things were wild at the Bosch. And before we talk about the game itself, Johnny, can you just, as a ball player, look, I know in the midst of the game, you're zoning, you're tuning all that out, but just talk about the environment and how electric the Bosch was this weekend.
Yeah, it was probably... Yeah, it was the most incredible environment I've ever seen at the Bosch, hands down. I mean, we had the Super Regional 2 years ago versus Arkansas. That was pretty electric. But that game, I mean, the emotions were so high and so all over the place at times, and the whole crowd was into it, and then the LSU crowd was into it. It really was great. And then yesterday, I think it was that ESPN said that there was like almost 1 million people watching the game, which is just great. It really is great for the whole, college baseball and the sport itself.
Man, such good stuff. By the way, I forgot to mention earlier, I want to say a big word of thanks to our friends at Ball Players Bomb for getting Johnny and I together all the time. Thankful for their work and their great materials. Go check out Ball Players Bomb. That will take care of you. Made by ball players for ball players. It's great stuff. Johnny, Monday night, it kind of felt like a continuation of the end of Sunday because it was like there were all these chances in the first and second inning. Felt like you guys were about to blow things open. Coach Johnson is just like rolling through 82 different pitchers for the Tigers. But then there was the Berto DP second inning. Harbor, man, had that shot, basically warning track grand slam almost. Didn't get there. And so instead of, what could have been 5, 6, 7 runs, it's just, I believe, 2-1 at that point, heading to the bottom of the second. What's kind of the feeling at that point? Like, hey, we've missed an opportunity here, or is it just like, again, that's baseball and we move on? Where were you at that point?
Yeah, again, like we've been saying, the 27 outs, right? But, Harbor just missing that ball, that could have been changed the game. And we were happy that we scored first. We scored 2, and I think it was the first inning.
Yep.
But we knew that it was going to come down to the wire. We had to keep plugging away. And the 2 wasn't going to be enough. Yeah, we had an opportunity. Parks just missed one. I mean, he was right on it. But again, 27 outs, you got to play all of them. So
absolutely you do. And look, what was wild is, as you said, there was the 2 in the top of the first, there was the walk, and then somebody scored on the Berto DP, and then LSU just got 1 in each of the first 3 innings. And my dude, that was it until the top of the 9th. Just what can you say about not only the Tar Heels bullpen, but the Tigers bullpen as well? I mean, both pitching staffs, I thought, just did a great job once they were able to find somebody.
Yeah, I mean, LSU really had a great staff, great bullpen. They had a lot of good pitchers with good stuff. But Maddie coming in there and pitching 3-4 innings, however much, and Jason starting it off doing a great job. And then Maddie coming in and Dalton Pence. I mean, those guys will put out there every game if we could. They're the best of the best, and that's the reason why we've had so much success this season. So, like I said before, I mean, those guys are just the best of the best.
Yeah. And then as the game winds on, Johnny, you, Vandenbrake, you guys have accepted different roles this year on this team. And by the way, from the outside looking in, man, just what that says about your maturity and your willingness to do what needs to be done for the team. I cannot tell you how much respect I have for you. So I don't know that I've said that to you, but I want to say that to you in front of all these people live, dude. That's big time, man. And a lot of people would not take care of that business. So way to handle it. But you come into the game late as Coach Forbes is trying to just make moves to make things happen. And you have to come up to the plate in a big time situation. We'll get to the top of the 10th in a minute. For people who haven't played baseball or who haven't been in this environment, just how difficult is it to come off the bench, to step into a high level situation, high leverage situation and deliver?
Yeah, it is definitely a unique type of skill you need to learn and deal with over time. But it also is just staying locked in the whole game, looking at what they're doing throughout the game, whatever the pitcher's throwing. Kind of, I know they changed a lot of pitches that day, but you can kind of get a clue of what you're going to expect if you get an at-bat, kind of how their pitching coach will call pitches and stuff. But yeah, it's a difficult thing. But being locked in the whole game and expecting to be in there in a big spot, that's kind of what I was doing that game. Will really help you once you get in there. And I know my first at-bat didn't go the way, obviously, I wanted it to go. I worked the count and whatever. I chased 3-1.
I know. Oh, I was like, oh, I felt so bad for her. I was like, Johnny, ball 4.
I know, yeah. I really want to make something happen. And, he pitched me well. I mean, he threw me five sliders at bat. When 3-1, I'm expecting a fastball right there. And same with 3-2, and he threw a good one.
It was.
The credit to him. But, yeah, it's a difficult skill that you got to kind of learn to deal with over time. And like I said, just being prepared, staying loose, staying mentally locked in for that opportunity is the key.
For people who have never experienced a D1 level or higher slider, how much movement is on that thing, man?
Yeah, it's all different types, but yeah, it's definitely difficult pitch to deal with.
One other question about coming off the bench like that. I know it's going to change game to game depending on situation and game script and all that. But in that kind of moment, how much advance notice is Coach Forbes or one of the other coaches giving you of like, hey, Johnny, just a heads up, you might be coming up here. You need to go get ready, get some swings in.
Yeah. I mean, it does depend. Sometimes you just like, hey, you're up, or hey, a couple of batters before, be ready to hit for this person, or if they go to the lefty here or they go to the righty here, whatever it may be. But I don't we're really not allowed to go back in the cages, so it's kind of you're just stretching there, getting ready to hit. Like I said, sometimes it can be like, hey, we need you right now.
Right now, exactly.
Yeah. But again, it's about being mentally locked in, prepared for that moment. So
yeah, man, that's good. Before we get to your at bat in the top of the 10th, I want to go to 2 defensive plays. There was the one that was that really tough short hop that you came so close to picking. I mean, that ball is insanely difficult to come up with. I thought you had a great effort on it, but in particular, there was the foul ball over right to the wall where talk about sacrificing body. That is a legit brick wall over there, folks, on the first baseline. How hard did you run into that wall? And were you tracking it well? Did you know how much space you had to the wall?
I thought it actually was going to hit the wall. I thought it was going to come down and hit the wall. So that's why I kind of jumped up. But I think I needed to do that anyway, looking back on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of lost it for a second, and then I got an eye as I was running over there. But once I hit the wall, I didn't really feel it until the next morning when I woke up and my hip had a bruise on it. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty awesome. And even the first base coach for LSU was like, hey, man, that was a great play.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that was a pretty good opportunity there for sure.
Well, and especially, I mean, we talk about 27 outs for the Tar Heels. You got to get the 27 outs on defense, and every single one. I mean, who knows what happens if you're not able to come up with that ball? So I just want to make sure people understand what a big deal that is. All right, we fast forward to the top of the 10th. Carolina's been able to tie things up in the 9th. Again, Gallagher comes through, leading off with that double and getting. Oh, wait, before we get to your at bat, Madera's bunt.
Oh, yeah.
That I do not know that I have ever seen a baseball come so close to tipping the bat. Like if you don't know fair foul rules, folks, if that just nicks any part of that third base bag, that's a fair ball. First and third, nobody out for the Heels.
Yeah. That was, it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a phenomenal, but and credit to Tommy White for letting it roll, because really already he didn't have a play on it. And so just letting it go, I thought in real time, at least, was the right play. But then thankfully things happen and able to get that tying run big time. Johnny, top of the 10th, you step up to the plate, nobody on, 2 outs, and you get a ball that, I'm not going to lie, off the bat, I thought it was gone.
Yeah.
How did it feel for you coming off the bat? Did you think it was short, or did you think you got enough of it?
Yeah, I definitely hit it well. I was choked up because Jump was throwing pretty firm there at the end of the game. He was up to, like, I think 96.
It was coming. It was humming.
Yeah, so I was choked up, ready for the fastball kind of at the top of the zone. And I got one kind of middle away, and I hit it good. And the air that night it was humid out, so, like, it doesn't really travel as good. But, I mean, I hit it really well, and in the moment it was kind of like, I was like, oh my God, that might go out. And then I saw it drop, and I got the second, and it was just a great feeling. And I knew, like, that was a really important moment in the game, because we would have went 3 up, 3 down that inning. Yeah, so
That's right.
That kind of kept us alive there. And then Matt, he does what he's been doing all year, came up clutch. So that was so awesome.
Well, and the other credit to you on that play was you could have sat and admired, but you were hustling out of the box, because if you don't get to second there and you're stuck at first because you were ball watching, who knows what happens, right? And so that's big time to get out of the box and go. And even still, it was a close play at second.
Yeah. I mean, right field had a play on it. And it was a good job of him getting. I think I saw it, like, kind of. I went back and watched it. It kind of kicked and sat right there. So if it kicked away some more, it would have been kind of a stand up. But yeah, good job to him for getting it in.
That's right. And yes, as you said, Ahmad comes through. I mean, it was a tough at bat. As you said, Jump was bringing it that night, and just able to get, I mean, that's a tough at bat, and really excited for him. Kind of, we talked about Gallagher earlier, able to make up with his walk-off for Madeira to make up for not being able to get that bunt down with kind of the go-ahead.
Credit to him. I mean, that bunt, that was one of the craziest plays I've ever seen in baseball. And then he comes back up in the bigger spot, the next inning. So it's really good credit to him.
Earlier this week, Johnny, we had Colby Gross on, who was one of the guys that was out beyond the right field fence after your hit. And they were jumping and yelling and screaming and, taking a little bit of credit for trying to distract the right fielder. I love those moments. Those are fun fan moments. And I said, all right, Colby, I'm going to talk to Johnny later this week on the show. What would you say to him? And he basically told me, tell Johnny and everybody, all the other Diamond Heels, keep hitting them out there, and we'll keep doing our work out beyond the fence. So, Johnny, from Colby and those other fans out there, y'all keep doing what you're doing, and they're going to take care of you and distracting the Mountaineer West fielders this weekend.
Yeah, home field advantage, right? I mean, we really appreciate it. So
that's right. And you got to imagine, I don't think West Virginia is bringing as many as LSU did. I mean, that was wild how much purple and gold was at the Bosch.
Yeah, I mean, you're hearing Tar Heels, and then you're hearing LSU. It's like back and forth. It was a great environment, the greatest environment I've ever played in. But the LSU fan base, I mean, they travel. It's pretty far, I'm guessing, and they showed out pretty well.
Yes, they did. Well done, Johnny, to you and the Heels for not backing into that thing, but for going out and winning the game. You love that. Way to go. And now what that means is this weekend we move on to the Super Regionals, and we're going to get ready to talk about that coming up in just a second. All right, gang, let's get ready for the Super Regionals this weekend. If you're not sure how this format works, it's basically just like a usual weekend series during the season, but best 2 out of 3 advances to Omaha in the College World Series. That means if Carolina takes care of business tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, boom, you don't even play Game 3. It's an if necessary, just like any other playoff series would be. And so, Johnny, you mentioned earlier the Arkansas series a couple years ago. You guys came out of the losers bracket in the regional that year, did what LSU almost did to you guys earlier this week, but were able to pull it off. And then Arkansas takes care of business in their regional. So you get to host at the Bosch. And man, those were really good games against Arkansas. I remember them, but just came up short, both of them on the wrong end of it. What did you learn from that series that you're taking into this weekend?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I learned is that it's really never easy, no matter who your opponent is. Obviously, Arkansas was the 2 seed, I think, that year, and we were the 10th overall seed. It is always hard, and listen, that was a really terrible feeling to lose, so close being to Omaha. And I think a lot of us that are back now and have played in those games or experienced that has learned a lot, and we'll take that into this weekend.
Yeah, man, that's good. And you just said everybody's good at this point, but Johnny, I feel like I've heard a lot this week of people saying like, oh, West Virginia, they were the 3 seed in that Tucson regional with Arizona being the 1, and Dallas Baptist, who I thought like season long, everything on paper, Dallas Baptist is the best team in that regional for my money's worth. But out of it comes West Virginia. What would you say to folks who are overlooking the Mountaineers or saying that this weekend is going to be an easy walk for the Tar Heels?
Yeah, definitely won't be easy. It's never easy, no matter who your opponent is. I mean, especially this time of year. And obviously the regional last week, 64 teams in there. Every team is in there for a reason. And to be in the last 16 now is just a credit to how important or how well the team has been playing this year and how much momentum they have, coming into this weekend. Everyone is riding a high right now, right? They won the regional and everyone's feeling great going into their super regional. So it's never easy, no matter who your opponent is. And West Virginia's got a really good club, and they got a really good players. So we have to, play our game, but again, focus on ourselves and focus on what we have to do to win.
Love that. Got a couple more questions on that, but folks, if you haven't gotten in your questions for Johnny, there's a couple rolling in. We'll get to those in just a second, but now's the time if you haven't done so. Johnny, coming out of the regional and as you prepare, what is something you learned positive that we did well last week in the regional that we've been rolling with this week in preparation for West Virginia?
Yeah, I think our defense has been really well. Not too many errors, and that pitching and defense is the key to winning championships. Honestly, everyone's going to hit, but giving extra outs is really when other teams and good teams capitalize, especially this time of year. And I feel like, like we were talking about before, there was a couple guys left on in that one game, but when it really came down to it, we got the job done. And I feel like that's a credit to our team and our ability to, no matter what level or what time in the game it is, we can get the job done. And hopefully we can continue that this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as anybody who's played baseball knows, runners in scoring position and not necessarily hitting well or, not having a high batting average in those moments or a bunch of guys left on base, that's the game, man. It's going to happen sometimes. And there's going to be other games where you go 9 for 9 with runners in scoring positions. I mean, that's just baseball and how it works. Yep. Johnny, what about the flip side of that? What are some things that you learned, that's like, we weren't at our sharpest last weekend on this, and this week we've been working on it in preparation for what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really pinpoint a thing specifically. I know that we've been working on, something. Obviously, the coaches do a really good job scouting the teams and letting us know, what they do. If they pick off a lot, what type of pickoff move they have. If they bunt in this situation. But, I mean, yeah, I guess the runners in scoring position, like you said, it's just part of it. And kind of our team this year has been kind of using that motto, part of it, of like kind of to our advantage. Like, hey, somebody hits a grand slam in the second inning, let's say, hey, that's part of it, so we got to play, So we're trying to ride that this season. But, I think we really have done a great job to prepare. I know we only had 2-3 days, but we're really feeling confident going into this weekend. And like I've been saying this whole time on, like it's really how we play, no matter what scenario we're in.
Yeah. Johnny, I don't want to look past the Super Regional, but I want to have a conversation both about the Super Regional and the College World Series. LSU's head coach, Jay Johnson, said, I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but basically the North Carolina Tar Heels have all the parts they need to win the World Series. I think he would know as the reigning national champion. Johnny Castagnozzi, do you agree with that assessment about your baseball club?
Yeah, I think after this fall, we had a really good fall, and it was really competitive, and it was the most competitive fall that I've been in part of here for 4 years. I knew that right then and there we really have what it takes this year, and we lost, Jake Knapp and Folger, and we still, we persevered. I mean, it's adversity. Every team's going to face it. So I really think that this team has everything that it needs and we need to get to the promised land. And obviously we need to take care of business this weekend.
Right.
But we can't, get too high or too low. We just have to keep doing what we've been doing all year. And that is kind of just staying with the process, as we say, and sticking to what works for us.
Love it. All right. Shea Sprague on the bump tomorrow night on Friday. We got that news on Thursday from Coach Forbes. Not terribly, wildly unexpected with DeCaro having thrown both Friday and Monday. So short rest for the second time would be nice to be able to save him for Saturday or Sunday. So we'll see as probably depending on how things go tomorrow night. Johnny, let's take a couple questions from the chat and then we'll get out of here. This one comes from our guy, Michael Shadron. What's up, Michael? A very loyal listener to the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, part of our Discord. He says, question for Johnny. What was the best part of the celebration on Monday night?
That's a great question. There is just so much great things that happened. For me, I would say, because I got pitch ran for, so I was on the bench. So I was like kind of pacing back and forth in the dugout. When Vance caught that ball and we ran out in the field and we were just hugging each other, that was probably the best part for me. Everyone just so proud of each other and winning that night.
Oh, man, that's good. Yeah. I love it. And this one comes from Marion. Marion says, not a question, but I cannot imagine the pressure and nerves to step up to the plate with 2 outs. And I'll just add in the 10th inning of a game 7, right? Where like a home run or getting on base could ultimately determine things. How, maybe Marion, maybe others just haven't been in a high leverage moment like that. Johnny, are you feeling the nerves, or is it just I'm so locked in that I'm just paying attention to my job? Where are you at with that pressure?
Yeah, it's just human nature. Everyone's going to feel it, but you got to stick with your routine. And for me, I just always believe in myself, no matter where I'm at, what position I'm in. I know I prepared, honestly, for my whole life for moments like this, and I just don't want to look back and be like, hey, I shouldn't have let myself feel that way. A little bit of nerves. I was kind of just feeling like so prepared in that moment and ready to, attack the moment.
I love that. Johnny, this one's going to be fun because it's a non-baseball specific question. I love food. I don't know about you, my guy, but like nothing excites me more than looking forward to like a good filet or something like that. So this one comes from Dom Lopiano. I hope I've said your last name right, Dom. He says, what is your favorite he says, what's the best? Johnny, I'll ask you, what's your favorite post or pregame meal?
Yeah. Well, we have pregame meal. We have armadillo grill pretty much every game. But if I was making the food, I would make some good chicken parm or something like that, because that's just my style. But, we have armadillo grill all the time. So stick with that.
Love it. All right, Johnny, here's the last one, and then I'll send you out with one as well. This comes from WXYZ77 says, redemption match from the Mayo Bowl, go Heels. For those who don't remember that reference, Carolina football for their bowl game this year played West Virginia in the Mayo Bowl, and things didn't go exactly as the way we in North Carolina land would have liked to have gone. Johnny, let's get some redemption. Come on, my man. How's that going to go this weekend?
Yeah. Well, we have a football guy that was on our team, Caleb Koss. So, we gotta get some redemption for those guys over at football.
That's right. That's a great point about Koss. He's going to get some personal redemption here. Hopefully, man. We're all in on that. Johnny, last thing for me. Each of these moments is potentially your last game as a Tar Heel. And I know you don't want to, maybe dwell on the finality of that, but Monday night could have been that. Tomorrow can't be, but Saturday or Sunday could be that. How do you process going into that, or have you even begun to do so yet?
Yeah, it has crept in my mind a little bit. Really this whole season, knowing that, this is my last season here, I try to really take everything in and, I sit in the dugout and pregame for extra time and just kind of soak it all in, because I know there's really not that many times. And honestly, there's only 3 games left in my career at the Bosch. Potentially it's hope for 2, but I just try to take it all in and really enjoy it. I know that, regardless, even if we're making it to Omaha and Bay, wow, that's my last game with the Bosch, So I try to take it all in as much as I can.
Dude, that's a great point. Regardless of what happens, whether the Tar Heels move on or not, this is it at the Bosch for you, and I'm with you. 3 would be fun just for more memories, but man, let's get 2 and get out of there with that. Speaking of which, Johnny, it was electric last weekend. What would you say to the Tar Heel faithful, the Tar Heel crowd this weekend to help spur you guys on?
Yeah, just keep doing what you did last weekend. We'll really appreciate you guys always coming out, and the like Coach and everyone has been saying last weekend, that was the most electric atmosphere at the Bosch we've seen. I know, like, my parents were there. One of my good friends is coming up from Florida. Nice. So he's going to be here, and it's just going to be a great environment, and I'm really excited for it.
That's great. Johnny, best of luck to you guys, man. Go out and kill it this weekend. Want to thank, again, Ball Players Bomb for bringing us together, as always, and the great stuff they do, making that from ball players for ball players. Johnny Castagnozzi, Diamond Heels infielder. My man, go out and get you a super regional this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Guys, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with our full Friday show. We're going to talk all sorts of stuff, including a little more prep for the Super Regional coming tomorrow night. We're going to talk a little bit about the potential of Danny Hurley leaving UConn and maybe some of his players jumping into the transfer portal. Would the Tar Heels jump on any of them? I don't know. We'll speculate on it. If you're not subscribed to the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, you can do so on audio and video. If you're not part of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord family, we'd love to have you there as well. The link is in the show notes, and it is free to join. Come on in. Come for the Tar Heels. Stay for the community. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again, hopefully this weekend, with some live reactions to these games. But until then, peace.